Chris and Dan show. It is I, Dan, back with another book review. This one's Beyond Good and Evil, Friedrich Nietzsche. This was written in the late 1800s. This, I'm currently reading his most popular book, Thus Spake Zarathustra. I'll do a book review on that one. But this book is the first time he got into master morality and slave morality. And these are not just abstract concepts, these are frameworks that are still influence us today. But one of my favorite quotes from this book is whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process they do not become a monster. Because when you are fighting evil, it is very easy to get caught up in the same tactics and eventually become evil yourself. And Nietzsche has a lot of these quotes that kind of shake you out of your seat. And this book, spare a few chapters, like the one on peoples and fatherlands. Although I did read through everything, it's not the easiest book to read, but this translation's actually pretty good. Uh, he talks about philosophy, he talks about morality. So we're going to get into all that. What is master morality? I think it's the most important concepts is master morality and slave morality, and also the will to power, which we'll get into in a little bit as well. But this is the first time in this book that he discussed master and slave morality. So let's start with master morality. Nietzsche describes this as the morality of the strong, the creators, the leaders, the one who shaped the world. Zarathustra himself, masters define their values based on what is life affirming, strength, creativity, courage, ambition. For them, what is good is what enhances life and expresses power, and what is bad is weakness or mediocrity. And then slave morality, which he says Christianity's basically a part of, is the morality of the weak. It's reactive, born out of resentment towards the strong. Instead of valuing strength, it flips the narrative, calling weakness, humility, and submission good, while labeling power and ambition as evil. Slave morality seeks to limit and control through guilt and fear, creating the dichotomy of good versus evil. This is why the book's called Beyond Good and Evil. Clearly, Nietzsche was not a fan of Christianity or any religions for that matter. This framework blew my mind, first of all, and not just mine, many others, because it reframes morality as a tool of power dynamics rather than a universal truth, which is kind of what I inherently felt my whole life. It's not about right and wrong, it's about who gets to define those terms and read it for yourself and you decide. I don't agree with all of Nietzsche's philosophy, by the way, but I mean, he has some things in here that are would get him canceled today, basically when it comes to women and also multiculturalism, which clearly I disagree with, but he would argue that I'm brainwashed. Um, at the heart of this book is the idea of will to power that I mentioned earlier. And Nietzsche argues that life's driving force isn't survival or happiness, it's the desire to grow, assert, and express strength. The will to power isn't just physical dominance, it's creative, intellectual, and even spiritual. And I connected this with my role as an entrepreneur. So in entrepreneurship, the will to power manifests as innovation and disruption. It's about breaking free from established norms and creating something entirely new. When I think about building my businesses or helping clinical research sites evolve in my day job, this idea really resonates deeply. He also gets into and takes aim at traditional morality and our obsession with the absolute truth. He sees truth as a construct, something created and wielded by those in power. This ties back to master and slave morality. The strong create their own truths while the weak adopt truths imposed on them. This actually hit me because you have to ask yourself, are your beliefs truly yours or are they inherited from someone else? Nietzsche's call to live dangerously is about taking responsibility for your own values. It is similar to Ayn Rand, but I think Nietzsche allows for more of like acting on your whims as opposed to producing something of value. But I mean, if I had to critique it, I'll save it for the end. Philosophy meets real life. These concepts of master and slave morality apply to so many aspects of modern life. Take, for example, corporate world. Leaders with a master morality mindset innovate and take risks, while those stuck in slave morality play it safe and conform. But here's the twist. Both are necessary in different contexts. Slave morality can stabilize societies, but without master morality, there is no progress. In research, this duality plays out a lot. Traditional site models pushing boundaries with tech and innovation. The master morality here represents sites that define their own metrics of success and disrupt the status quo, while the slave morality might be seen in those who cling to outdated processes out of fear of change. This also applies to the CROs that I discussed in my other channel. Question for you guys. What do you think? Are you living by a morality you've created, or are you following one imposed on you? And then I get to the critiques. Nietzsche's ideas are powerful. Some of them are, in my opinion, outdated. Um, he kind of leaves it up to like follow your whims, but that can kind of end in you getting into vices just because you feel like you're the master. If he says if there's no universal good or evil, how do we live? So Nietzsche's answer is freedom, but freedom without guidance, in my opinion, can feel overwhelming. Here's where I struggle with Nietzsche. He deconstructs morality, but doesn't give us a clear path forward. Instead, he challenges us to create our own values, a daunting task, especially in a world that craves certainty. I also think that you could get into some issues like I'm not against creating your own values, but I resonate more with Ayn Rand's philosophy, The Virtue of Selfishness, which I will save for another book review. All in all, it's a reminder to question everything, even the beliefs I'm not comfortable with. It's not about rejecting morality, but about taking ownership of it. In a way, it is empowering, but also demands courage and responsibility, and it demands some patience. But again, I think that book is a really good translation. What do you think? Let me know if you've read it or if you haven't. I suggest doing it. And if you get stuck on a chapter, like I kind of did on the Fatherlands part, you can kind of skim it, but you can get the majority of it from a lot of his chapters. So I found it well worth my time. And honestly, didn't take me that long to read it, although you do have to like reflect every sentence or two. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Talk to you later. Bye bye.